Welcome back, everybody, to Housing Summit 2.0 Progress Report, presented by ResCon and sponsored by the Toronto Regional Real Estate Board and the Federation of Rental Housing Providers of Toronto. I'm very pleased to now introduce the Honourable Steve Clark, Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing. He was first elected as an MPP for Leeds Grenville in 2010. He was re-elected in 2011 and in 2014. And in 2018, he was re-elected as the MPP for the newly named riding of Leeds Grenville, Thousand Islands, and Rideau Lakes. So without further ado, I'm going to hand things over to Minister Steve Clark.
Thanks, Todd. Really appreciate the kind introduction. Hi, everybody. I'm so pleased to be here. I first just want to do a shout out to ResCon's All-Stars, Richard and Amina, for inviting me to this, your second virtual Housing Supply Summit. It's great to be with you, even though it's virtually. I'm here to share an update on some of the action that myself and our government under the leadership of Premier Ford are doing to address Ontario's housing crisis. And I think there's one thing that everyone at this meeting and I can agree on that we know for certain. The construction industry is key to our province's continued prosperity. You contribute over $80 billion to the province's economy last year. And as a leader in the sector, ResCon, you play a critical role in bringing everybody together, whether it be builders, developers, planning professionals, and other stakeholders to identify ways that we can all effectively build Ontario's housing supply. Summits like this are really evidence of the leadership that ResCon has. And I want to thank all of you for your ongoing partnership and your support. I think you know that our government was reelected on a strong mandate to help more Ontarians find a home that meets their needs and their budget. But a shortage in supply and a strong demand for homes has really been driving prices out of reach for too many Ontarians. People are desperately looking for housing that they can afford. So we know that everyone who realizes housing plays such an important role in their lives want to make sure that there's a safe, comfortable place that they can call home. So, the other thing that we know is that the province holds some pretty big levers to be able to spark some of this development. We decided as a government that we were going to prioritize housing supply. In our first mandate, we were able to, through my ministry, provide 2 housing supply action plans, one in 2019, More Homes, More Choice, and one earlier this year, More Homes for Everyone. More Homes, More Choice really provided a roadmap to help address the housing challenges that our province was facing at that time. It was really a call to action for the need to build more homes because of our rapidly growing population in Ontario. And it's been effective. Since the plan was introduced, we've seen a tremendous upscale tick in the amount of building that's taken place in Ontario. And last year, as you all know, we had over 100,000 starts, which was the highest number of starts since 1987, and was well above the annual average of 67,500 starts that we've seen over the past 30 years. We also saw a record amount of purpose-built rental starts, over 13,000 starts last year, which was the highest we've seen since 1991. So even with those great numbers in 2021, we know that it's not enough. And that's why we want to build upon the progress that we made by introducing that More Homes for Everyone plan earlier this year. It laid out some very specific ways that we can get rid of red tape, that we can end bureaucratic inefficiencies that really drive up the cost of homes and are creating options that just are out of sight for renters and buyers. More Homes for Everyone really delivered on some very practical solutions that our partners need to move forward on. They included additional measures to increase housing supply and to make housing more affordable across the province. Using these recommendations as a roadmap, we remain committed to delivering a housing supply action plan every year in this 4-year mandate to bring more policies and more tools to support things like multi-generational housing and missing middle housing. One of the things that I think I would be remiss if I didn't talk about was the bill that just got passed in the legislature, the Strong Mayors Building Homes Act. Premier Ford and I have been working closely with municipalities to identify opportunities and bold solutions that will help us in our housing supply challenge. And in January, we met with big city mayors and regional chairs, and also representatives from rural, remote, and northern municipalities about how we can get more housing built faster. One thing that we heard loud and clear from was our municipal partners is that we need to get shovels in the ground faster. We need to empower municipalities to be able to do that precisely and ensure that they have not just the tools, but also the flexibility to build more housing faster. And that's why we introduced More Homes for Everyone. The Strong Mayors Bill essentially gives the tools to those two mayors to cut through red tape and get shovels in the ground faster. And we know that in the next decade, a third of Ontario's growth is going to take place in Toronto and Ottawa. So the new legislation and the associated regulations would give those two mayors in Toronto and Ottawa the power to drive policy changes, to select municipal department heads, and importantly, bring forward a budget. Strong mayor systems empower municipal leaders to work more effectively with the province to reduce timelines for development, to standardize processes, and address local barriers to increasing the housing supply. We want to empower our municipal partners to be able to get things done. And we're counting on these mayors to cut red tape and get housing built faster so that more families can realize the dream of attainable homeownership. We believe that the Strong Mayor system provides a new tool to deliver on our shared provincial municipal priorities, including our commitment to build 1.5 million homes over the next decade. So we'll have more to say after the election. We want to make sure as a government that we land this correctly for Toronto and Ottawa. And, again, we'll be watching some of the municipal races after October 24th to see if there's an opportunity to expand the program elsewhere. So I'm just going to close by saying that something that I think ResCon has heard me say many, many times before. There's no silver bullet to solving the housing crisis. The need for change, though, is clear. There's now a strong consensus based on clear evidence that housing supply is the core problem. And without an increase in housing supply to match the increase in demand, housing prices are still going to rise. And more Ontarians are not going to be able to afford a home that meets their needs and their budget. So right now, as Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, I'm focused on the how, right? How do we get the full range of housing options built faster? How do we make it easier for Ontarians to find a home that they can afford? And this is a long-term process. It's a long-term process that requires long-term commitment and collaboration from all levels of government and, importantly, with our industry partners. I'm so very proud that ResCon is one of those partners that is willing to work with us to take action to address the lack of housing supply. And I firmly believe that together, we're going to make it easier for Ontarians and their families to find that home that they need and deserve. So just thanks for giving me this opportunity. Bold action is on the way for housing supply in Ontario. And we want to make sure that our partners at ResCon are there with us every step of the way. So thanks for giving me this chance to bring remarks virtually from the beautiful riding of Leeds, Grenville, Thousand Islands, and Rideau Lake. So have a great day, everybody.
Thank you very much, Minister Clark. Appreciate your time and love those strong mayor legislation pieces you're putting together. We'll see what happens on October 24th. I'm sure there will be other mayors lining up to get some of that cutting red tape power. Our next session will begin at 2:55. That will be outstanding housing reforms needed to increase supply. And that session will be introduced by Amina, ResCon's very own, who Minister Clark gave a shout out to just now. And that will include Mike Moffat, Eric Lombard, and Chris Hornberg. They will be discussing what changes are required to increase housing supply and how they will complement existing reforms already made. So that will be introduced by Amina at 2:55. And then following that at 3:40, there'll be a session on choice, widespread choice, led by ResCon's Michael Giles. And they're going to be talking obviously about how to get more affordable housing and some of the other choices that are available in the housing market. So both sessions will be introduced by ResCon moderators. So you just click on the agenda, go to that session, and the next one starts at 2:55. So you've got a little break to say hi to all the other attendees online and go online and chat. And I think Minister Clark and his staff are going to be available online to answer any questions if you have following his remarks. So I'll let you navigate the app and you'll see Amina join you at 2:55. Thanks very much, everybody.